Good morning. The August 21st, 2024 meeting of the Board of Estimates is now called to order. For those who are joining us in person today, we'll ask that you please ensure that your electronic devices are turned off or at a minimum placed on silence so you do not disrupt today's proceedings. For those of you who are online, if you have an opportunity to participate with the board today, when the board recognizes you, we please ask that you state your name, the title and organization in which you're coming in from, and then begin with your testimony loud and clearly. At this time, I'll ask our amazing clerk, Ms. Celeste Amato, for any corrections, additions, and noted abstentions from today's agenda. Madam Clerk, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. President, and good morning, everyone. Excuse me. We have the following walk-on item to note, to place on the agenda this morning. This will be on the non-routine agenda because it's being walked on this morning. That item is SB 2413245. This is a procurement item. It's a correction and amendment to SCON 001834, Mitel Voice over Internet Protocol, software maintenance, and hardware support. We have the following deferrals this morning: SB 2413109, Department of Housing and Community Development. This is a payment in lieu of taxes for Walker Muse Housing, LP, 6225 York Road, Baltimore, Block 550, Lot 004. This will be deferred until the September 4th meeting at the request of the President. SB 2412960, Mayor's Office of Employment Development, intergovernmental agreement with the Baltimore City DSS. This item is deferred until September 4th at the request of the CAO. SB 2412831, Baltimore Police Department Professional Services Agreement with We Care Incorporated. This item is being deferred until September 4th at the request of the CAO. We have the following withdrawals this morning: SB 2413118, procurement. This is an increase. SCON 002743, locksmith services for $156,321.81. This has been withdrawn at the request of the agency. And SB 2412741 for procurement of renewal and increase select source with Gartner Incorporated. This item has been withdrawn at the request of the CAO. We have no protests, statements of opposition, and/or statements of support to note this morning. And the following items are appearing on the non-routine agenda: SB 2413146, BBMR, modification of AM 301-10, computer systems and services, and AM 301101, computer systems and services procedure. This is a zero-cost item. This is the administrative manual for those who might not know that acronym. SB 2413228 for the Comptroller's Office. This was an emergency procurement being noted by the board for the Board of Estimates automation project with McAfee. The transaction amount is $225,000. And SB 2413230 for the Comptroller's Office, a companion emergency procurement for Board of Estimates automation with KGO. Transaction amount is $335,000. SB 2412575 for the Parking Authority of Baltimore City. This is an emergency procurement for Group 3 garage management agreements. The transaction amount is $723,301. SB 2412577, Parking Authority of Baltimore City, emergency procurement for the Penn Station Garage Management Agreement. Transaction amount is $350,134. SB 2412579, Parking Authority of Baltimore City, emergency procurement extension for Group 2 Garage Management Agreements. Transaction amount is $1,091,697. SB 2412581, Parking Authority of Baltimore City, emergency procurement extension request for Group 4 Garage Management Agreements. Transaction amount is $492,131. SB 2412574, Parking Authority of Baltimore City, emergency procurement for Group 2 Garage Management Agreement. Transaction amount is $548,331. SB 2412578, Parking Authority of Baltimore City, emergency procurement for Group 1 Garage Management Agreements. Transaction amount $1,043,931. SB 24-12580, Parking Authority of Baltimore City, Emergency Procurement, Group 3 Garage Management Agreements. Transaction amount is $833,609. SB 24-12572, Parking Authority of Baltimore City, Emergency Procurement, Group 1 Garage Management Agreements. Transaction amount is $691,250. SB 24-12476, Parking Authority of Baltimore City, Emergency Procurement, Group 4 Garage Management Agreements. Transaction amount is $828,175. And SB 24-13245, Procurement Correction and Amendment to SCON 001-834, Mitel Voice over Internet Protocol, Software Maintenance and Hardware Support. And that is the item that's being walked on this morning, so I will also share the action and dollar amount requested of the board. The action requested is the board to approve the Fifth Amendment and correction to an agreement with IPC Technologies. The period of this agreement is from June 16th, 2024 to June 15th, 2025, and the dollar amount is $288,800.17. We have the following abstentions to note this morning. The City Administrator, Faith Leach, has no abstentions. The Honorable President Nick Mosby is abstaining on SB 24-12926, Mayor's Office of Homeless Services Grant Award FY23 Continuum of Care Grant Program Agreement, U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development HUD Grant. The Deputy Comptroller, Erica McClammy, has no abstentions to note this morning. Deputy City Solicitor Stephen Salisbury is abstaining on SB 24-12952, Department of Law Travel Request, and SB 24-12849, also a Department of Law Travel Request. And the Director of Public Works, Khalil Zaid, has no abstentions to note this morning. The Honorable President Nick Mosby is voting no on the following routine items this morning. SB 24-12440, Grant Agreement, Housing Accelerator, ARPA 407 Franklin Partners, LLC. SB 24-12963, Amendment 1, MOU and Right of Entry for Govans Presbyterian Church, Incorporated. SB 24-12776, Consultant Agreement with Catalyte, Inc., User Experience Researcher Training Services. And SB 24-12684, Fixed Pricing Policy Dispositions, Second Fixed Pricing for July 2024. Again, those were no votes on the routine agenda for the Honorable President Nick Mosby. And Mr. President, that concludes our opening statement for this morning. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. At this time, I'll ask for a motion to approve and adopt the opening statements.
So, motion to approve
And then Mike.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and probably second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it. The opening statement has now been adopted. I would now like to direct the board's attention to a memorandum from our office dated August 19th, 2024, identifying matters to be considered as routine agenda items, together with any corrections, additions, abstentions, and no votes that our amazing clerk have noted. I'll entertain a motion at this time to approve all items contained on the routine agenda.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and probably second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it. The routine agenda item has now been adopted. The first non-routine agenda item can be found on page 8, SB 24-13146, Department of Budget. This request is to approve an administrative manual revision to AM 301-10 on behalf of the administration. We have.
Good morning. My name is Todd Carter. I'm the director for BSIT. The AM, or the proposal in front of you today, is submitted through BBMR, but it's really a BSIT proposal so that I'll be talking to. So good morning, Council President, Madam CAO, and Madam Deputy Controller, and members of the board. I'm here today to talk about our proposal and ask for approval of our updates to the AM 310 computer services and systems. At the end of the day, we've been updating a lot of our technology, and we're at a point now where we really need. I'm sorry, our slide should be presenting.
Do you know who's going to be presenting?
Do you know who it is?
It's Courtney Bowman.
Okay, she's,
Sorry about that.
it's fine.
I was getting on a roll.
Keep rolling.
Okay, so we're here to talk about this change in policy. We've spent a lot of time updating our infrastructure, our computers, but our policies are something that need to catch up with this as well. Next slide, please. And so here's some background and justification. The existing AM 310 policy was, it was last updated in May of 2012. If you can think about what the government looked like in 2012 or what technology looked like in 2012 versus where we are here today, it is something that really needed to be updated in terms of roles and responsibilities, authorization and guidance for IT security, how do we procure, as well as best practices in deploying and having systems that integrate. And what this update really does is updates the roles and responsibilities, but also authorizes the ITSM, the Information Technology and Security Manual. That's what it's all about, the ability to give us the opportunity to stay and keep pace with the rest of the world. Next slide, please. So, again, we mentioned the roles and responsibilities that have been clarified, CIO, CISO, agencies, and users. All of those roles are part of the ecosystems that allow systems to work and systems to operate to meet business and government needs. The separate ITSM, the Information Technology Security Manual, is really allows us to evolve much faster, more quickly with the pace and change of technology. We have a lot of processes and procedures to enact. The last time I was here, we talked specifically about disaster recovery, and we know we have a lot of work to do with that. Well, those are the types of things that would fall into that particular manual. So this approval will give us the ability to set policy across Baltimore City, set policy, standards, and procedures across Baltimore City relative to IT. Next slide, please. To take a policy such as this through the process, you start with a lot of stakeholders involved. This has been reviewed by law, by all agencies, by leadership throughout, and it culminates with the approval of the BOE after coming through the BBMR process. Next slide. So in summary, our policy was last updated in 2012. The proposal will update and reflect new current roles and responsibilities. The update will charter the IT and security manual, and the ITSM will enable the city to adopt new standards at the pace of technology, as well as when technology evolves and matures. And we're asking for the approval of the board. Are there any questions? I know you all were just waiting for this morning.
Thank you so much. Mr. Director, at this time, are there any questions or concerns? Hearing and seeing none, at this time, I'll take a vote.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and probably second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it. It's item approved. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Mr. Director, the next item can be found on page 13, SB 2413230, Comptroller's Office. This request is to note an emergency procurement with KGO on behalf of the Comptroller's Office.
You
or-
have me. Would you
You
like
could-
me to take the mic there or speak from here?
Yeah, I think that's more appropriate.
Up there?
Yeah.
Okay. Good morning, honorable members of this board. I am your clerk and sometimes a spokesperson for the Comptroller's Office.
Yeah.
And I'm very excited to talk just a little bit about the work that we've been doing actually with all of you, focused on the Board of Estimates and automating that process over the last couple of years. The two items before you today are both emergency procurements that were approved a couple of years ago now, to not only automate the process, but also to digitize all of the city's Board of Estimates records. So when the Comptroller's Office initiated this effort, our hope was to automate and digitize the work of this board and lift us all out of a paper-laden, opaque process and able to present an efficient, accessible, and transparent system for our agency customers and the public. I think we've succeeded in doing that, and want to congratulate the board and thank you all for participating as you have to make this happen. Not only have we fully implemented the system, but we are now refining its reporting capabilities, and very soon we'll be able to offer not just our agency customers, but the public unprecedented web access to the approved and digitized records of this board dating back to 2010. Many of our colleagues have contributed to this success, so most of what I want to share today is really a lot of gratitude to a lot of partners. I want to thank the administration and finance for supporting this effort and identifying the all-important funding and agreeing that this work rose to the level of urgency during the pandemic that merited authorization to proceed with an emergency procurement. I want to extend enormous thanks to the Law Department, to the Budget Bureau and the Accounting Bureau, to the Mayor's Office of Small Minority Business Advocacy and Development, and to our own pre-audits team. These are all departments that collectively review hundreds of transactions every board cycle to ensure accuracy, minimize risk for the city, and help us present this board with an agenda that's really ready for your consideration. I thank all of them for being champions of this automation project and partners in its design and its use. I want to thank the CAO, BSIT, and all the agencies of the city who collaborate with us week in and week out to do the essential administrative work that supports the real work, the operations that serve our residents and businesses. We know that change is hard even when it's making things better, and appreciate how agencies dove in with us to make this happen. I want to thank KGO and McAfee, the two contractors that we're noting today, for bringing your expertise to help us get this vital project done, and for their enthusiasm for working with a bunch of government geeks who get excited about stuff like this. And I want to thank our small and mighty team within the Comptroller's office for your tireless efforts. We are going to burn that last typewriter at our holiday office party this year. And General Audrey Quarles is going to toss the match on that bonfire. So I want to thank all of them. It's been a Herculean effort to make this happen, and they've stuck with it and have done some amazing work. And I want to thank this honorable board for allowing me the time to thank all these folks, and I hope that you're enjoying this system as much as I am. And I'd be happy to take any questions.
Thank you so much, Madam Clerk. At this time, are there any questions or concerns from the board? Madam CAO, the floor is yours.
Yes. One, I want to start off by thanking you, Madam Clerk, for your leadership throughout this process, as well as thanking the entire staff in the Comptroller's office, as well as the Council President's office. You're absolutely right. It's been a Herculean task, but it is admirable to see how this board works together. One question around this emergency procurement, can you just state for the record when this emergency was approved?
This emergency was, well, it's had two approvals because at one point we had to extend the timeline. So the original approval would have been in August of 2022.
And one additional follow-up, so given that we now have the system in place, BOE Submit, is there additional work that will be done through this process, and will you be coming back to the board?
There actually is. So there's a little bit of work that's still going on because the dollar amounts you see here were sort of the envelopes approved for both contracts. There is still work going on with KGO because they are refining reporting, and they will be making the dashboard go live in the next few weeks. They're also working to connect Unifier, which for folks who may not know, that is a system that is going to be managing the capital project process from cradle to implementation. That's a lot of capital budget detail that works through a system particular to capital agencies, and that same information will seamlessly transition into board memos and into the board record itself as those items come to the board for approval. So we've been spending some time and money making that connection happen. We have a dream that Workday will also be connected to the BOE Submit system so that accounting information automatically updates, but we don't know if we'll get that done before the end of this contract. We will be putting another contract in place for the new calendar year to support ongoing maintenance and possibly some more refinements. So the board will see that at some point.
And just to clarify, the dashboard that you referenced, is that's a public-facing dashboard?
Yes.
Got it. Thank you.
Are there any additional questions or concerns? Hearing and seeing none, this report will be noted.
Thank
If
you
you could
very
please stay there, we still want to read in on page, the next item on page 14, SB 2413228, Comptroller's Office. Again, this is emergency procurement for Magathy. On behalf of the Comptroller's Office, we have.
Celeste Amato. I will share that Magathy did all the digitization of the documents. So just to distinguish their work from KGO's, KGO was the programmer of the system itself. Magathy digitized records going back to 2010. That brings us up to date. So we chose 2010, so everyone knows, because that is the most likely time period in which we still have live contracts. Not very much would extend back past 2010, and we wanted to try to capture everything that could be alive and make that digital and highly accessible for agencies and the public.
Thank you. Are there any additional questions or concerns at this time? Thank you so much, Madam Clerk.
Thank you very much.
This will be noted. The next is a group of emergency items for the Parking Authority. So what I'm going to do, Mr. Little, is read them all in. Since we're just noting them, we will not have to take individual votes. I'm just going to note them as a package. Is that okay with this board? Okay, hearing and seeing zero unreadiness, I'm going to just read them all in real quick, and then you could come up to present to us. The next group of items on our routine agenda can be found on pages 100 through 106. If you could just bear a moment with me. Actually, yeah. Pages 100 through 108, and they are SB 2412576, SB 2412575, SB 2412577, SB 2412579, SB 2412558, SB 2412572, SB 2412574, and SB 2412580. And last one is SB 2412578. These are Parking Authority. These requests are for emergency procurement for a multitude of different companies with different group garage managements. On behalf of the Parking Authority, we have
Peter Little, I'm the Executive Director with the Parking Authority of Baltimore City, and actually with me is Adam.
just real quick, before you, Mr. Chief Procurement, could you just explain to the general public, I guess, the importance of these management agreements and the role of the Parking Authority in having these vendors manage the garages?
Sure.
I'm sorry, can you turn that mic on? The right button. There we go.
Thank you. So we manage these garages on behalf of the city, but in order to operate the garages, we do put out RFPs through the Bureau of Procurement for management companies to come in to supply the labor and the day-to-day management of these facilities. We do group these facilities, the garages that are in close geographic proximity to each other, we put into groups so that if there's a shortage of labor at one or the other, personnel from one garage can go to another to help to manage those garages. So that's why they're in these groups here. So we have actually two companies that are operating these garages for us currently. One of them is a small MBE, WBE, located here in the city. These companies put money out of pocket in order to operate these facilities on behalf of the city. All of the revenues that they collect go directly into city accounts. And so we need to extend these contracts while we put these management contracts back out to RFP. we need to extend them so that we can reimburse those companies for their out-of-pocket expenses while we put these management contracts back out to RFP
Now, how long is this extension?
for 6 months till the end of the year.
Thank you. Anything else to add?
I think that's it, other
right.
than, some explanation
Mr.
about
Chief
how we got
Procurement
here.
Officer, if you could tell us how we got here and the steps moving forward.
Absolutely. Good morning, President Mosby, CAA Leach, Deputy Comptroller, members of the board. Adam Manny, I'm your Chief Procurement Officer. What we have here, sir, little history. All of these are actually 2 separate emergency procurements per group. It looks complicated, but I'll go through it through the timeline. Back in September of 2017, this board awarded 2 contracts for the award of the management of the contracts of the groups. In March of 2023, this board approved the extension of those contracts. In May of 2023, a request for proposal was issued and advertised in Workday. In June of '23, we issued an addendum extending the due date on those proposals into July, based upon questions we received back and forth. July of 2023, this board, we opened the technical portion, Part A, of those proposals. As we were going through them, this is the first set of extensions in January of '24. An emergency extension was granted on those contracts until June 30th of 2024 as the technical proposals were being looked through and done. Unfortunately, in February of this year, Mr. Ward, who is the procurement officer, passed away. It took the Bureau a little bit of time to get his workload redistributed, and then in March, we redistributed this specifically to our senior buyer, Gustavo Nieto, who started working on this. In April of 2024, we opened the price proposals from the 3 vendors that had submitted, and we started working through them. As we were going through all of this, it turns out that one of our member of the selection committee dropped out. So instead of having 3 people review everything, we were down to 2, which created some other issues as we were going through. Both the Bureau of Procurement met with the Parking Authority, myself, Mr. Little, everybody on board, and we discussed what would be the best way to move forward with this. Based upon the issues that we had, it was determined it would be in the best interest of the city to ask this board to reject all bids, which was in today's non-routine agenda, and to allow us to go back out and put out a clean proposal where we have everything done. Both Mr. Nieto and Mr. Little's staff have been working together. We should have that proposal out in September, and we will be adding in a couple of extra garages as we've worked those changes. And so the second set of emergencies is to extend the current contracts so we can go through the RFP process and get everything done.
Thank you so much for the explanation and history, Mr. CPO. At this time, are there any additional questions or concerns from members of this board?
I have some questions.
Madam Deputy Comptroller, the floor is yours.
Sure, just 3 questions. Just to clarify, you expect the RFP to be posted in September?
Yes,
Okay, and when do you expect the award to come to the board, estimate?
we expect by December,
Okay.
November, December.
And in reference to expired or contracts, who's responsible for tracking expiration dates? I mean, obviously, the agency. So I guess my question really is, does procurement have any tracking system in place so that you're not waiting on the agency to remind you that a contract is already expired?
We do have reports that were just generated within the last year that are in Workday that let us know a variety of different issues of contracts that are hitting spend and also contracts that are within 90 days of expiration. As part of the mayor's transformation plan, we are looking at creating a contract administrative group within the Bureau so that we can focus on more of the most of the global contracts to ensure that these are going. We haven't hit that stage in the transformation process. We're still staffing up on the procurement side, but we are working on it. It's also part of the mayor and the CAO's procurement stat meeting as we start looking at all of these where we can now start tracking this information to understand, to make sure that we are getting ahead of the game.
Sure. And is the Workday report, is that something you have to run, or does it automatically notify at 90 days?
It's automatically generated and sent out to the area fiscal officers, my staff, and myself.
Good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
If I can note also that at the Parking Authority, we do have a contract tracking system. We utilize Cobblestone for that. We began in 2020 asking Bureau of Procurement if they could help us to put these out. Because of manpower issues at that time, they weren't able to put it out until 2023. But just wanted to note, we have our own system as well to track them.
Any additional questions or concerns from members of the board? Hearing and seeing none, those items will be noted. Thank you so much, Mr. CPO. Thank you so much, Mr. Little.
Thank you.
The next item on non-routine agenda can be found on is SB, it's a walk-on. It's SB 2413245, Department of Procurement. This request is a correction and an amendment to SCON 001834, Mitel Voice over Internet Protocol Software Maintenance and Hardware Support. On behalf of the administration, we have
Adam Manning, your Chief Procurement Officer. Wow, tough. Thank you, sir. Thank you. We appreciate the board allowing this to be walked on. This is for a contract extension and increase for voice over internet, the VoIP protocol. For this, the Comptroller's Office and the Bureau of Procurement have been working diligently with the business partner to finalize the renewal, work through everything, and being able to award the extension today and moving forward and issuing that purchase order before the end of the month will save the city funds, because if we don't do it, we would end up having to re-register all of the devices with the company at an additional cost. So we wanted to bring this on to avoid that cost and just move forward.
what's the additional cost?
$280,000. The additional cost per device I don't have, sir. I apologize. But this infrastructure covers both the Courthouse East, Courthouse West, the State Attorney's Office, Recreation and Parks, and the Police Department. So all of those devices would have had to have been re-registered.
And they was going to charge the city of Baltimore to re-register that?
That is correct.
Oh.
But if we can
What's the
have
name of this company again?
This is
Mitel.
IPC Technologies and Mitel, yes, sir.
Gotcha.
But
That's
as part
unfortunate.
of our negotiations, if we could get this accomplished before the end of the month.
If not, they would charge us that
Correct.
fee just to charge us. Okay. Are there any additional questions or concerns from members of this board? Madam Deputy Comptroller? No? All right. At this time, I'll entertain a motion.
This is a correction, sorry. So moved.
Second.
It's moved and probably second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it. This item is now approved. As there's no new business before the desk of this board, we will adjourn. The next regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Estimates will occur on Wednesday, September the 4th at 9 a.m. I would like to thank everyone for tuning in. Baltimore, we absolutely love you.
Good afternoon, TV 25. Good afternoon, everyone. Sorry we're a few minutes late today. We've had a last-minute change that we're just trying to make sure we're organized around. So this is the Board of Estimates bid opening for August 21st, 2024. I'm Celeste Amato, clerk to the Board of Estimates, and I'm joined by the Comptroller's team who helps open and announce bids on a pretty much biweekly basis. So we do have a few addenda to share this morning, and one is a late arrival, so I will highlight that one for folks who might be listening in for these changes. Up first, Bureau of Procurement, RFQ 000611, building envelope and air sealing services for municipal buildings. Oops, bear with me. Sorry, I'm adjusting my screen. That, again, was RFQ 611, building envelope and air sealing services for municipal buildings. The opening date has been rescheduled to September 4th, 2024. For Bureau of Procurement, RFQ 000515, sound system equipment and installation for Myers Pavilion. The opening date has been rescheduled for September 18th, 2024. For Department of Recreation and Parks, RP-24812, Congressman Elijah Cummings Recreation Center. This opening has been rescheduled for September 18th, 2024. For the Department of Public Works, SC 985, rehabilitation of high-level interceptor. This item has been rescheduled for opening to September 4th, 2024, and received just this morning Bureau of Procurement RFQ 000556. Whoops, I mistyped this myself. Let me repeat that RFQ number, 000556. This item is for home-delivered grocery boxes for city residents. It will now be opened on September 4th, 2024. So today, up first, we are opening a bid for the Department of Recreation and Parks. This is RP 23891, Greater Model Pools.
We have one bidder, Plano Kudon LLC. That total is 7,988,000.00.
Okay, that bidder was Plano Kudon. Am I saying that right? I never know if I'm pronouncing that. $7,988,000.00.
That is correct.
Did that have a bid bond?
Yes, it did.
Okay. And no checks associated, correct?
No, no
Okay,
checks.
let me put bond on this front page. Okay, that was the only bidder.
Yep.
For contract RP 23891, Greater Model Pools. Up next, for Bureau of Procurement, we have RFQ 000609. This is heavy-duty aluminum tents with logo.
We have one bidder for this, Tent Craft.
And do we have a total in this one?
We do have a total.
Okay. Do we have a copy?
It seems like this is just the original.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep. All right. That total is 286,794.00.
Okay, that number was 286,794.00.
That is correct.
So that bidder was Tent Craft for $286,794.00. And that was our only bidder.
We have one more.
But we have another in our stack. Sorry. We only had one in time to put it on the list. Just so everyone understands what's going on. We take names off of envelopes as they come in, and then day of opening. And by the deadline, sometimes new folks have shown up. And in this case, we have another bidder, and that is?
Up next, we have AGAS MFG Inc. And that total is 208,500.00.
Oh, oops, sorry. Could you repeat that again?
Sure.
Thanks.
208,500.00.
Okay, that number was 208,500.00.
That is correct.
And that was AGAS MFG Inc.
That is correct.
for $208,500.00. Up next?
That was the second of the final.
That was the second, okay. That was our second of two bidders for RFQ 000609, heavy-duty aluminum tents with logo. Up next, for Bureau of Procurement, we have RFQ 000508, water meter services.
We have one bidder for this, Vanguard Utility Service, Inc. That total is 12,836,076.00.
Okay. My keyboard is sticking again. I have 12,836,
076.
6. It's the 6. Sorry, everybody. Okay. That number again was 12,836, 076.00.
That is correct.
And you said this is our only bidder
Correct.
for RFQ 0005008. That bidder was Vanguard Utility Service, Inc. for $12,836,076.00. That does not have a check or bond or anything associated,
No.
okay? Just double checking myself. Okay. Up next, Bureau of Procurement RFQ 000621. On-site preventative maintenance for heavy-duty vehicles and equipment.
Yep. Up first, we have Mid-Atlantic Waste Systems, division of THC Enterprises, Inc. Okay. Okay. That total is 353, 250.00.
Okay, that number was 353, 250.00.
That is correct.
That bidder was Mid-Atlantic Waste Systems, division of THC Enterprises, Inc. for $353,250.00.
Okay. Our second and final bidder is Johnson and Towers, LLC. That total is 300,250.00.
Okay, that number was 300,250.00.
That is correct.
That bidder was Johnson and Towers LLC for $300,250.00. And that was our second of two bidders for RFQ 000621, on-site preventative maintenance for heavy-duty vehicles and equipment. Okay, up next, we have RFQ 000614, outside print services.
This was for. Yeah.
I think I see at least 5 bidders that came in early for print services. Does that sound right to you guys? Yes. Okay. So up first,
Okay, thanks. Okay.
but we do see totals on these. Because I imagine this could be an itemized
It
bid.
might be itemized. Let me just double
Yeah, let's double check. We may be just listing bidders without sharing totals because this may be an itemized
Yeah,
bid.
this is itemized.
Let me go back to my opening sheet. This is print services. I don't have a note that this is itemized. Which doesn't mean that it's not. Sometimes we aren't told if it's itemized or not.
Yeah, I don't see a total.
Abby's doing page by page also.
There's
No total?
Nope.
But you see like costs per, in
Oh, yes.
categories? Okay.
Yeah.
It looks like these are itemized bids. We're going to know soon when we look at the second one. But it is, does not appear that we're going to be able to share totals because this is an itemized bid, and we will be referring all of these to the agency for review, in this case Bureau of Procurement. So up first, we have,
Peabody Press, Inc.
that was Peabody Press Incorporated.
Yep. Does the next one have anything? No totals. Okay. All right. All right. So I'm just going to read this one. Okay. All right. Up next, we have Creative Print Group Incorporated.
That second proposal is from Creative Print Group Incorporated.
Does this have a total? No total. All right.
Okay. Yeah, they're all going to be
They're
the
all
same
going to be
then.
no
Good.
total. All right.
We
Up-
are correct. No totals.
No totals. All right.
Who's next?
Up next, we have Doyle Printing and Offset Company Incorporated.
The third bidder is Doyle Printing and Offset Company Incorporated.
Yep. Yep. Mhm. Yep. Up next, we have Tray.
Is that capital T-R-A-Y
Correct. Mhm.
Incorporated or anything after it? Or is
Tray
it just?
Incorporated.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. So that was Tray, T-R-A-Y Incorporated.
Yep. And then our final bidder is Ridge Printing Corporation.
And the final is Ridge Printing Corporation. Folks, I'm going to read through the list of vendors that have responded to RFQ 614 for outside print services. They are as follows: Peabody Press Incorporated, Creative Print Group Incorporated, Doyle Printing and Offset Company Incorporated, Tray Incorporated, and Ridge Printing Corporation. So those were our 5 respondents for RFQ 614, outside print services. This was an itemized bid, so there are no totals to share. We will be referring this to the agency for review as always. Up next, we have RFQ 000588 for Nikon products and parts.
Yep. All right. Up first, we have Boss Services, LLC.
And is this also an itemized potentially?
Yep, this is itemized.
Okay.
Yep.
This too is an itemized bid, and we'll confirm that again at the end of our list of vendors. But we will just be confirming who has responded. So first respondent was Boss Services, LLC.
Up next, we have B&H Photo and Electronics Corp.
Okay, I have B&H Photo Video Pro Audio Incorporated, so is that their DBA or?
It was on the box.
I know that was on the
Yeah,
box,
yeah, I just
so
don't- yeah, I don't-
should I be listing any other name or should I just leave it this way? So read yours again, Abby, I'm sorry.
Mine, sure. What's listed here is B&H Photo and Electronics Corp.
Photo and Electronics Corp.
Mhm.
I just want to list both names for clarity. So,
And the total listed here is
They do have a total?
a lump sum total. Yep.
So the first one did not have a lump sum, but this one does have a
Yeah,
lump sum?
this one does.
Can we look at that, please?
The B&H,
Yeah.
it is right here. This has, oh,
So it does, so let's look at the first one again to make sure we didn't miss a total? Or did they just not provide a lump sum total like they did?
this has, this, oh, so-
Okay, there is a lump sum total for Boss Services LLC.
Okay.
So let's give this back to Abby, because she reads, and I verify with her, and Shay makes sure we didn't make any mistakes. But we do have lump sums for this bid. So Boss Services LLC presented a lump sum of
225,317.00.
okay, that number was 225,317.00.
That is correct.
And that was Boss Services LLC for $225,317.00. And now, back to B&H Photo Video Pro Audio, Inc., who appears to also trade as B&H Photo and Electronics Corp. They also presented a lump sum, and that number was
189,190.00.
okay, that number was 189,190.00.
That is correct.
So that was B&H Photo Video Pro Audio, Inc. / B&H Photo and Electronics Corp. for $189,190.00. And I believe we have one more bidder, according to my list.
Yes. All right, our final bidder is Harbor Tech MD LLC. That total is 273,203.54.
That number was 273,203.54.
That is correct.
And that was Harbor Tech Maryland LLC for $273,203.54. And we don't have any more respondents for that?
No, that was the last one.
So that was our final of 3 bidders for RFQ 000588 Nikon Products and Parts. Up next, and I'll just share again, and thank you, Abe, our buyer, for being here. We did have a late addenda issued for 000556. This was home-delivered grocery boxes for city residents, and we're just announcing again to confirm for anybody viewing and for our buyer that this has been is being advertised and will be now opened on September 4th, 2024. Again, that was RFQ 556, home-delivered grocery boxes for city residents. That will be opened on September 4th, 2024. And up next, we have RFQ 484, High Water Warning and Detection System, Design, Install, Test, and Commission. This is a Part B, which means that we got technical proposals earlier, qualifying vendors, and now we're opening the price. And I only see one
Yep, it's
price
just the
opening.
one.
Does that sound right? Okay.
McLean Contracting Company, and that total is 437,001.00.
Okay, that number was 437,001.00.
That is correct.
That was the Part B price opening for McLean Contracting Company, $437,001.00. And there are no other bidders, no other prices being opened for that one, okay. Up next is RFQ 000186. This is for maintenance, repair, and installation services for various overhead doors. And I have one bidder listed currently.
Yep, that's correct. It is All About Doors, Inc. That total is 593,250.00.
Okay, there are no checks or anything else associated with this one, right? Because it's maintenance. Okay. That bidder was All About Doors, and I have 593,250.00.
That is correct.
Okay, so again, that was All About Doors for $593,250.00, and that was our only bidder for RFQ 000186, maintenance, repair, and installation services for various overhead doors. And that's our final opening for today, yes?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Up next, our next bid opening, I should say, is on September 4th, 2024, and the results from today's opening, along with notes, addenda, and those sorts of things, will be published by close of business today on the City Comptroller's website, if not, in fact, sooner. And we will see you on September 4th. Thank you for watching. Thanks, TV 25.